What's up, Billionaire Breed gang? Back in this thing. I'm gonna show you guys how to go ahead and do this liquid to powder ratio. So let's jump right into it. So what you see me doing here is I'm basically releasing all of the air bubbles out of the brush. Now I'm dipping the brush, flipping it, wiping it off, flipping it again, and I'm just gonna hold that for 3 seconds inside of the powder, and I'm just gonna wipe that on off of the brush. And I'm gonna repeat these same steps. So it's dip, flip, drag, flip again, hold into the powder, or you can bounce it. And I'm gonna show you guys different techniques during this entire tutorial. Okay, I am basically getting ready to show you guys how to do the bounce method. So I'm dipping my brush back in, flipping it, wiping it off, flipping it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Polymerize, perfect bead, wipe it on off. So this is how you want to continue to learn how to do your liquid to powder ratio. 1, 2, 3, flip it. So you see how I had a big bead and I had a small bead. That all depends on how much liquid is inside of your brush. And you want to make sure that you keep your powder level as much as possible, because it's just easier to pick up beads like that. Now, if you need to use your pinky, put it on out there, girl. Hold it and gently just tap it inside of the powder. This will also help you get a great consistency with beads, and also it will prevent your powder from falling over, especially if you are like working really fast, so you're not really paying attention. So I'm picking this bead up. I'm going to show you guys how easy it should be to place. You see how I'm just able to just tap that bead onto the paper towel and it just magically just falls off. That's how you want your consistency to be. Like, that's literally chef kiss. Mwah. Perfect bead, baby gal. Perfect beads. Moving on to different ways you can pick up the beads. So you can do the drag method, which is dragging it all the way through. But see, my personal opinion is, you see how much white acrylic is back there? That can get stuck into your brush. And I don't feel like doing the drag method is really as consistent, because while you're dragging it, your powder is already setting. And you don't want that. So what you see me doing here, this is the bounce method again, and this is how you get like that perfect bead. It's super perfect. So for this one, I'm just showing you how to sit it still, and you just want to hold it there, and you just see how it polymerized really great, and how it's like on the tip of the brush, and I can flip it over and it's not falling off. That means it's not too wet, and that means it's not too dry. Also, make sure that you're holding your brush at an angle when you're doing all beads, but especially with this bounce method, because it's literally going to give you that perfect rounded bead. For the one that's sitting still, you just want to count 3 to 4 seconds to see how it's polymerizing. Once you see it polymerizing, that's definitely perfect. Like, everything is going to fall into place, and you want to make sure that you keep the same consistency when doing your beads, especially when you're doing nails, because having inconsistent beads can lead to two things. Like, you can have lumps in your nails, dips in your nails, and all type of things, like lifting from your nails. So try your best to keep the beads the same consistency as possible. That's why it is so important to do your liquid to powder ratio. Understand your brush. Understand what monomers go with what powders, what how fast the acrylic dries. Like, really take time to learn the beads method, liquid to powder ratio method, because that's what's most important. Although designs and stuff gonna come, but we're gonna go ahead and move on to let me show you guys how to use this method to apply to a nail. So now I'm just sitting the bead in to the powder, letting it polymerize a little bit. Now when I was doing this, my house was kind of hot, so I had to like do my best to work really fast. And you want to make sure that you're always having a liquid on your brush. Like, even after you apply the bead, you want to wipe that bead off, wipe the brush off, and then start working the powder. You just want to gently drag it down using the body of the brush. So you're using the tip of the brush to pick up the powder, and you're using the body of the brush to move the powder down. Do not use the tip of the brush being scared to place the beads up there. Use that tip of that brush to place that bead. Wipe your brush off, dip it in that liquid, get your butt back on over there with that body of that brush, and you go ahead and drag it on down. Why are you being scared? You want to be a nail tech. You want to do your own nails. Why are you being scared to work with these products? You need to learn how to work with these products. Now I'm just getting a really wet bead to put at the tip of the nail, and I'm just going to use the tip of my brush to gently brush it back. This is going to make sure that my nail is completely even. You see how it's even, but it's kind of flat, so I need a little apex. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in, drain my little brush off because I want an apex. And I just want to place it on top of the other acrylic, and I just want to form it into the cuticle area, and I just want to gently brush that down with the body of the brush. And you see how I pushed it up a little bit with the tip of the brush is because I want to build that apex. Building that apex is going to help. If your client smash her hand, it's going to help protect her natural nail bed. You would prefer for if she slam her hand on her door that the acrylic come off and not her own nail come off. Now you see, like, once I turn the nail to the side, that the nail is even. There's a little apex there. It's literally the perfect way how you would build your nail. I just wanted to run it back one more time with a stiletto nail shape so you guys can also see like how to do the stiletto nail, which kind of was a little easy. But what you see me doing here is I'm showing you guys I have a lot of acrylic residue in my brush. That's why it's looking like that. That's why there's so many bubbles inside of my brush and inside of the liquid. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to dip it one more time, and I'm going to take my brush and I'm actually going to wipe it off, and I'm going to dip it back into the monomer probably like 2 or 3 times and make sure I get all of the acrylic out of my brush, and then I'm going to move forward with the nail. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to place this. Now you see I'm placing this bead here sideways, and that's how I personally prefer to place my beads sideways. I just feel like it's just, I don't know, they're just something I just like to do. And I'm just basically, you see how I'm just always dipping that brush into that liquid. Dipping that brush into that liquid is important. And remember, use the body of the brush to push the acrylic down. You see how I placed that bead in like before a little bit above the cuticle area, and it just automatically came off of the brush. That's how you want to have your acrylic coming out that brush, how I showed you guys in the beginning of the liquid to powder ratio. Make sure that that brush is able to bounce off that acrylic instantly, so you can go ahead and wipe that brush off and start moving on to the next process. So this is just something I decided to add at the last minute on how to do a simple overlay. And I just put cuticle oil on my nail. That's why it's so doing shiny. So when you're doing an overlay, you want to make sure that your beads is kind of sort of semi-dry, but not too dry. So it's kind of like medium wet dry. I don't know how to explain that, but yeah. And just gently place it up, and then you want to make sure that you're placing it like sidewall to sidewall, and then you want to go up under there to make sure that it's not actually sitting on top of the skin, and you want to place it and just want to make sure that you have that square shape, which honestly I was super surprised on how I did this overlay on my nail, which kind of made me be like, do I want to wear overlays? Because this is definitely giving a vibe, honey. Get into it. I am just basically placing my bead above the cuticle area, and this one is kind of like semi-dry, more so the drier side. That's why I'm going to keep dipping my brush, because I don't want this one to be too wet, because I don't want it to overflow to my cuticles, considering the fact this is a overlay, and I don't want too much liquid going into my cuticle area, which can, cause allergy problems and all those things. We don't need none of that. So make sure you're placing it inside of the cuticle really, really nice. And I feel like this was a really nice bead. And look at that. Oh my God, girl, get into it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the video. Don't forget to like the video, comment the video, share the video. See you guys in the next video. Bye.